number of years as a great advocate for MLTF, and he's going to be here to answer a bunch of questions. He's kind of a guru CPA of MLTF, I feel like. So I think this will be really informative. Please ask questions. That's why he's here, especially for those that are new. If you have questions, don't feel like, oh, everybody already knows these answers. It doesn't matter. You need to know how this works too. We are recording this, and we have Royce and Diane on the phone, so they may be chiming in. So don't be like, what? Who's that? It's like that. It's just Royce. So anyway, thank you so much for doing this. We really appreciate it.
Pleasure, Susan. Thank you. And I'm moving. Okay, so we'll start there. Yes, but I've been involved on the finance side. Yes, I'm a CPA. I've been a CPA for 40 years. Been on my church trustees probably for 35 of them. So very familiar on the tax side, obviously, of the charitable gift annuities and stuff. Depending how time goes today, we can open the doors up. Remember, I'm here for you today. Okay, I don't have a script. I know what I want to say and what do I get accomplished, but if you have questions, ask them. The dialogue will be as meaningful as anything that I'm going to say to you today. So don't be bashful. I'm not. Okay, but I'm not going to pick on you. Okay, so just make sure that's going to be okay.
Please don't.
Please do. All right, so student tuition organizations, been around for quite a while now in Iowa. Just your familiarity. How many on a scale of 1 to 10 would you say? I'm going to pick on you. Just on a scale of 1 to 10, how knowledgeable do you think you are on SDOs? Just kind of go around the table.
6, 7.
Like 5.
Okay.
4.
Okay.
4.
Okay.
4.
All right.
3, 5, 5, 3.
Ooh, 5. Okay.
4.
All right.
5.
Okay.
7.
Good. Thank you.
3.5.
5.
3.5.
All right. Okay. We're all going to be 8s by the time we leave. Seriously.
Yay.
You're going to understand that you're going to know more about SDOs probably than you ever thought you wanted to know. Okay, because Sharif and I, over the years, have beat these things to death. If you ever look at you have that list of communities, okay? Go back a couple years and see which 2 communities seem to always hit their goal first. Okay? Just do that in your spare time, and you will find Spencer always there. Okay? And it's because at least one CPA here gets it. Okay? And now I get it that they changed the rules a little bit, didn't they? So we'll get it again and still prove to you that you got the best thing on the street from a tax side. And obviously you know from a usage side. It's in your heart. That's why you like this stuff. My tax people like it from dollars and cents. Okay? So I think the easiest way for me to kind of get this off is where we were before they changed the law and why this thing always sold out. A lot of times it took till December except for 2018, didn't it? When on July 27th, they said, we're going to change the law starting effective July 28th. What happened on July 27th? You filled up. You filled up all in 3 days. They made the announcement 2 days before that, and you filled up. That's because people got it. Okay? So let's start with where we were. Okay? From a tax standpoint, what makes this so exciting to my taxpayers, to my clients?
65% tax credit.
65%. That's just
Dollar for dollar.
beyond my comprehension.
That's tax credit in Iowa.
That's the credit. That's the Iowa piece, yes. And that's the credit, not a deduction. That comes off their taxes. Somebody gives $10,000 to Lafferty, they have $6,500 off their tax bill, not off their income. It's not a deduction, it's a credit. Just amazing, okay? And then the old law would have said, that was Iowa, so I don't get any no contribution deduction on Iowa because I get the credit. But federal said, take 100% donation on your federal return. So now let's just top the top tax bracket first. Top tax bracket that year was 39.6. So how much federal benefit, let's just say this person gave $10,000. We'll start with state, how much state benefit?
6,900.
6,500. How much federal benefit? 3,960. Okay, and we'll stop there. $10,460 directly off his tax return for giving 10. No brainer, right? Should have been a no-brainer for everybody all the time. I had one client that gave $200,000 in 2018 to Spencer. Okay? He has income from 5 different states. By the time you layered the other states in, he had another $1,000 benefit. He had 11,000 rounded, $460 of benefit for giving 10.
Maybe.
And he gave 200. So take that times 20. Okay? This was simple. This was an easy sell for me. Hey, you get your state taxes paid, your federal taxes paid, and by the way, you help the school. This was easy. Right? So that's where you were prior to the law change. When you get 100% benefit, that's good. That's good. Okay, so let's say now that person in that year didn't give the Lafferty. Okay, the same discussion will apply today. Let's say he gave the $10,000 to Sacred Heart. Right? Not to the Lafferty Foundation, the Sacred Heart. What would he have saved? He'd got 39.6 federal, right? Just like the other one. So that was 3,960. Maximum tax rate in Iowa then was 9%. So he'd got another 900. $4,860. That's any other charity he'd have given to you. Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, whatever. That would have been his benefit. What was the benefit to Lafferty? 10 plus. Okay? We're going to go through the numbers. Today, the benefit's going to be between 73 and 78. This number today is going to be 45. Today, Lafferty, today, others. What's still the king of the hill for contribution deductions? Can't beat it. 65% credit. And the way I got this was 37.6 plus the 9. 38 and 9 is 45. 47, somewhere there. But in any case, you're still under the new law. He gets a $7,500 benefit compared to 45 on a 10,000 contribution. So, did you make, I don't think you made your goal last year, right?
But see, here the problem is, these guys, the donors that have been giving, that were spoiled rotten, some of them making money, well, now there's more out of pocket. And because there was more out of pocket, you know what they did? Cut their big donation in half.
Okay.
That's what happened to us.
All right. So they didn't turn to another charity to give it, did they? If they did, not smart, if they're just doing taxes, we have to remarket. Somebody said something about marketing dollars. The market is this way. We have to talk about it. That's why your marketing dollars, I don't think, are getting used. You've got to educate, and we've had CPA meetings in this room at Spencer. So we can tell the story and share the concept and share what we're talking about, okay? So it's talking about it is what's gonna get your marketing. And we just have to remarket, don't we? It's still the best donation in the United States. It's just that it isn't 100% anymore. Now it's only 75, and every other donation is 47. Okay?
Can I use your testimonial to say the best donation in the United States?
He said king of the hill.
I don't know of anything else that would rival this.
As a CPA, how many of the people that you've seen take advantage of this have their own business farmers, own business, maybe they're paying their, estimates quarterly or things like that.
Own business or wealthy, wealthier, okay? It's my higher income people that do this, all right? $200,000 guy, he probably has a net income on his tax return of 14 million, all right? So, 200,000, but when I tell him, yeah. But when I tell him it generated $230,000 of benefit, it didn't take him long. And what was Spencer's total for that year allocation? Let's just pick 90, because it usually runs around 90. Okay, so we'll digress off of that, and then when he gave the 200, and at that point, Spencer was probably already full. What happened to that 200?
Like the rest of us,
Where did it go?
it went to the other schools.
Based on need, that's my understanding.
Oh, right.
Okay, so I would assume the ones that are the furthest from their goal, or the lowest percentage, or whatever it is, Susan, maybe you can help me there, but it goes to the way I read it, the highest need. Right? Except, this is probably what you don't know. December 2nd. What happens on December 2nd?
The school gets to keep all of it.
If that person would have waited till December 2nd, and Lafferty still had funds available, he would have given that 200, and where would it have gone?
Spencer.
To Spencer. Now, it's also my understanding that Spencer has to prove the need for whatever they get to keep. So even though they're allocated 90, I think Sharifa told me they could prove a need of 140 or 150, so she got to fill her bucket. Then everything over that would have gone to the other schools again. But that cannot happen until after December 2nd, and then, assuming there's still funds available. So it's kind of a game, see? I did this. I've contributed to Lafferty for 15 years. I think there's some reasons why.
Thank you.
Yeah. And Lutheran Church once, when the first year, because I waited till the 31st and you guys were full. And so I had to turn to my Lutheran school out here that also has an STO, so I had to use the Lutheran school one. Okay? But once it's full, I'm done. So you can't wait till the 31st and just write a check. If it fills up, I got my check back that first year. I learned a lesson. Right? So you gotta give early enough. And then however, do I play? See, I played that game with Sharifa. We're full. Hope it doesn't fill up before the 2nd. If it does, I'm gonna still give. It's not gonna go to you anymore. But I'm gonna wait and see. Okay. Get what's going on. Okay. And it's worked most of the time. You're not full by the 2nd. Okay. So this is kind of almost planning amongst yourselves, isn't it? Okay. So I'm kind of telling, and I hope you don't mind me telling that, because it's fact. I think people should know the facts, so they have all the cards when they're playing. So if one of you guys fill up, and you can tell the story. Now this guy, when I told him, what could he do with that extra 140 went here, what did he do with the extra 60? Could he designate where that went?
Yes.
Yes, he can further designate, so he can look at those schools. Some of those schools didn't have 60, he funded their whole thing. I feel good about that, he said. Or he picked some others in. Okay, these are having trouble, they're a lower percentage, I'm gonna let go there. Okay, now we're talking an isolated $200,000 person. Doesn't happen often, but I've got 50s, I've got 60s. Okay? They aren't excited about doing it as much as they were. I still have to tell my story. It's a little harder sell. Now you are giving something, aren't you? But I have to explain to them, when you give to your church, when you give to the Boy Scouts, when you give to something else, half of it you're getting a tax benefit for, half of it you're not. Lafferty, 75% you're getting a tax benefit for, 25 you're not. Isn't that easier sell? If you're just playing the numbers game. Go to the heart first, because a lot of people like Lafferty. Okay. The second, top it off.
As a CPA, how would, if in a 12-month calendar, how would you market throughout the year? Would you market earlier to CPAs, later to the customer? Or is it, How would you do that?
Selfishly, as I've gone through these years, I'm probably disappointed in my CPA community as far as pushing this position. There's other reasons I can push it as well, other tax reasons. But, yeah, so early for the CPAs, in my opinion, but not till after April 15th, they're gonna listen.
Right, they're not gonna listen to you, right?
You aren't gonna listen to anybody until after April 15th, but May, June, good time of year to be talking to them, telling this story, and I can't believe they don't know what's out there. I just
It's not
can't.
top of mind or-
But you gotta be top of mind, you gotta keep it in front of them, and know how much it can potentially save your life. The 65% alone. I will tell you right now, I have not written a check to the state of Iowa for 12 years.
Gary,
Yes.
can I, so explain to me, as we went around the room, we had a lot of threes, a lot of
Yeah.
fours, and some fives. How do someone like myself go and talk to a CPA to try to tell them what the benefits of this are? I feel like a kindergartner
You should-
telling the teacher how to teach,
You shouldn't have to.
but I
So
feel
if
like.
you go in and mention to your CPA, I have however you want to say it, I have a client that wants to know about STOs, could you visit with him about it? I don't know what he's gonna say. And that's where I said I'm disappointed in my fraternity. I don't think we get it.
That's what, so how do we help them get it, so that they are helping us market it,
Okay,
because they
well,
are
like
the
I
people.
said, over these last 12 years, there's been 3 sessions in here, I know that Sharifa got all the preparers together, tried to. Attorneys, very tough to get out to anything, okay? CPA representation was adequate. Okay, I'd say maybe 50–60% of the CPAs in town were here. So they've got to hear the story. They've got to talk.
Here's what a CPA told me last June, because I was told, this is gonna be a bad year, this is good luck. And here's what he said, he looks at their giving. So if he sees them as giving to the Catholic Church, well, then he knows that they would be more interested in Lafferty than another client. So,
If it's tax driven, okay, and you gotta keep that in mind. I give to my church too. That is my first on the list of giving all the time. I give to my church. If it was just straight dollars and cents, I'd give everything to Lafferty. Okay, but first it's your heart. Okay, your heart has to tell you first, where do I wanna give? What do I wanna support this year? And then I let taxes drive me on the state. Like I said, I didn't write a check to the state. I'd always take my state tax, divided by 0.65. What was my donation to Lafferty? That number, because it would totally offset my tax. And then they get a little federal benefit on the side, right? So your question is excellent, and I wish I had an answer. I don't present to my peers very often, okay? I would be very willing to talk and do that. I think it would be time well spent, but they should know. They're professionals. They should understand. They should be able to tell you just like I'm telling you. They should. Okay? Yes, sir.
So when I go to my accountant, they do my taxes for me, they hand me the paper back, says what I'm getting back. That makes me happy when that's a positive number. So telling a CPA 65% tax credit, do they get that and understand, oh yeah, that's that, I'm gonna take that to my clients now? Or is it hard for them to tell their clients, you should be donating so you get the 65% tax credit?
That's hard, because I don't tell my clients what to do. I can suggest.
Sure.
I can plan with them. We can have the discussion, which is what I do with my, again, hiring from taxpayer people. So it's difficult. They understand in Dow, Iowa. They understand, you've heard of that. What's that percent credit?
25%.
25. They'll understand that one. They'll know that I can give to the hospital if they have an Endow Iowa fund. Our church has an Endow Iowa fund. I don't like it. Because what do people do? They give to that, and it sits there, and I can pull out 5% a year. Okay, whereas if you give my church, I can spend it. So here I am. If they ask me my advice, what do I have to tell them? The best tax answer is Endow Iowa. And here I am, treasurer of the church. I don't want to tell them that. They do, because it's my job. They ask, I tell them. But see what I'm saying? It's putting it in a fund where I can't use it. but it's the best tax answer, because it's 25 plus federal benefit on down the line, okay? So I think people understand the Dow Iowa, back to whoever asked the question. SDOs are the same concept, it's 65 instead of 25, but it has to go to Blackford. It doesn't go to like First Lutheran Church and Dow Iowa Fund. Or Okoboji Foundation and Dow Iowa Fund. Or Spencer Hospital and Dow Iowa Fund. See, then they're getting it directed a little differently than having to go to Blackford. Okay?
So I tell people Lafferty's all about the kids. It's all about helping kids. Whether they play football or they
You're
sing
taking this off
choir
the
or-
table, and that's the great place to start. Yes, it's all about the kids. No question. That's the hard part. That's the sales part, that when you say your priests are getting involved in the estate planning stuff, that's the hard part. He's there for a reason. Not to explain the tax rules. Make me feel like I want to. Yeah. So it's a great avenue to use. Especially if he's good.
It's a plus.
Yeah, you have to explain it to me. Okay, where do I want to go with this? You understand the benefit now, okay? And, make sure you understand the benefit now. All right, so $10,000, we'll keep working with that number, I like even numbers. All right, so on Iowa, we get 65% credit, right? So that's $6,500 off your Iowa return, tax. Okay, so then, now, the federal government's come in and said, where I used to allow you the $10,000 deduction, you're getting a 65% benefit here. So since you're getting that benefit, I'm only going to allow you to write off the 35% as a charitable donation. Whereas before this was 100. Now they're saying, you got a benefit here, so to the extent you got benefit, just like when you get sold that dinner ticket. Remember, your accountant will ask you, did you get any value? So if you paid $25 for it and you got a $7 meal, I can only deduct 18. That's what the government realized here. What made them realize it? You can kick your big cities and your big states on this. What did they do when states started limiting the income tax stuff? You know, if you itemize now, state taxes is one of your categories. What's the biggest number you can put on that line right now, if you itemize? Bottom line close. All right, let's just stop for a minute because this is important too. Itemized deductions versus standard deduction. Anybody know what happened to the standard deduction in 2018?
Went to 24.
Used to be 12, I'm gonna talk on a joint return now. 12 turned into 24. Okay. So if I itemize, I have what? Medical, if you can picture the page. I have my state taxes. I have contributions. I have mortgage interest. And I total all those up and come up with a number, and I take the higher of the two. So what happened when this went from 12 to 24? I'll bet you where I had 50 to 55% of my people itemizing before, now I have 90% taking the standard deduction, 10% itemizing. It's that big a deal. So when you heard our church is gonna get hurt because I don't get to deduct my charitable anymore, I'm taking the standard. Doesn't matter what I give. Okay. You heard those comments? Is the new tax law gonna hurt charitable giving? Okay. It is if you're just doing dollars and cents. The hard school, it's gotta drive you guys through that. Okay? So anyway, standard, so let's go through here. Medical is usually zero because it's only to the extent, remember, it has to be over 7.5% of your income, and I hope it's zero for everybody forever. I don't want you getting sick. State taxes. Take my client that I said made $14 million, and state taxes are probably $300. So in 2017, he got a $300,000 donation deduction here. What's he get now? 10,000. Limit, $10,000.
Why would you do that?
Why would he what?
Go down to the 10,000.
The law said this category can be no bigger than 10. So he told up all the state income taxes it was 300, whereas the year before he got to deduct 300, this year he gets to deduct 10. Yeah, wow. If you only get to deduct 10, how does Lafferty come in here? I got those taxpayers now that can only deduct 10, what am I telling them? Why don't you use Lafferty, get a 65% benefit, and get your state taxes paid? You don't get to deduct it here anyway. This is where, I wish I knew that all the CPAs could come do this, what I'm doing, and I'm not big headed, trust me. I just wish that my peers would get this a little better. But they don't focus on like a Lafferty, like I did with Sharifa. We knew we had a good thing and we sold it. I don't think we spent any marketing dollars, whoever was asking that question, it was all this way. We had to talk to the people. I had to talk to my clients. She had to talk to the people that she knows gives here at the church. They might not know about this unless you tell them. You have to tell them, hey, I think I have something that you might be interested in. Because number one, I know you care for the church. Number two, I know you care for the school. And number three, I think I can save you some big tax dollars. Well, they changed the law though, didn't they? Let me tell you the benefit of this versus giving anywhere else. You know that now, right? 65 plus something. You could stop at 65, couldn't you? That's bigger than they're gonna get total.
So the change on one end wasn't too sexy, but this could be real sexy for those high end.
If we wouldn't have had what we had before, this would have been sexy.
Right.
And it'd still be sexy,
Yeah.
but it was so good before, unbelievably good.
So CPA told me it's just like before, you had cake and ice cream. Now you just get cake, but you still get cake. That's how she explained it.
And it's better than the watermelon you'd ate otherwise. Yeah. You still get watermelon, but do you want the cake? This is the cake. It was cake and ice, perfect example, I like it.
But how do you convince CPA, some of them, you ask them to be your advocate, and they don't even donate. So then you just know there's a disconnect.
Yeah, see, this is where I'm frustrated again with we have a job to do, and it's not necessarily to go out and tell them to give it to the Lafferty Foundation. Okay, we have to be careful about that. You have to, I explain it to them though. If you want to save money, here's the best avenue for just saving tax dollars. Now, if you want to give to your church, or you want to give to the YMCA or whatever, you do that. But here's your best tax savings. Just like the person that asked me in church about Endow, Iowa. I hate the answer there, but I have to give it. Yeah, see, CPAs aren't out there unless somebody comes in and says, let's do some estate planning. Can I get your attention for a little bit? The priest gave me a good speech, and I'm really feeling like I gotta do something. Let's talk about it. So they're gonna have to come, and then, is it gonna be on the front of that CPA's list? That's where you can maybe get them together and say, don't forget us. I had this big guy CPA in Spencer tell me that the Lafferty thing is one of the best tax credit deductions you can get. You understand how it works so that you can help my client understand, or my potential giver understand. It's a tough one. Like I said, Sharifa did a good job with her people that she knew gave good. I do a good job with my clients that I know are, number one, charitably driven. You can't just bring this up to somebody that has a $500 donation in the tax return every year. Okay? Gotta pick the right people. But when I pick the right people, they have reacted. Not all of them. But it's just dollars and cents true. Okay, so back to this. Then charitable contributors, let's just say they give $10,000 a year, maybe they have $5,000 mortgage interest, then what would happen? $25,000 compared to 24, they got a little more over here. But this is pretty big. I don't have a lot of people that have 10,000 donations on their tax return, sad to say. mortgage interest is going down and down, interest rates have stayed low, so usually this is less than 24 and I get the stamp. So I can't motivate them as much anymore to get that benefit for the federal tax, but state tax is enough. 65% is enough to tell the story.
Help me work this through.
Yeah.
So if somebody has a $10,000 tax liability
Unsafe.
on state, they
How much
get
do I have to donate to get rid of it?
over 10,000,
Let's just say 13.
okay? Yeah,
65% of 13 is 10.
so they have to pay to get their money back, but they're gonna be paying an additional 3,000 than they would have normally paid.
That's the
Right.
difference.
Yes.
That's
So-
the
so-
ice
So
cream.
it's not like they're getting, it's not like they're making money on this, not even breaking even.
That's correct. Not anymore.
Right. But they're
Just-
directing 65% of what they owe to where they, to a charitable organization that they like, rather than give it to the government.
They're probably getting no benefit from their state deduction anyway anymore. What happens in 2025?
It goes away.
Schools are funded by the ESA.
Okay. All right, related to taxes.
It goes back.
You go back to old rules.
What? You do what?
You go back to old rules. 12 comes back. Yeah, 2025, this is Trumpism. They can only do this for 7 years because you can only tie up so much money. Usually it's 10-year deals, this is 7 because he spent so much money. So in 2025, we go back to old rules. Charitable contributions become more valuable, don't they? Because this is 12 now that I'm trying to compare it to. That hurt Lafferty or help Lafferty? Helps, more people will be back over here, so now that federal piece plus the state piece.
Okay, so the Catholic Church had lobbyists lobbying against how the IRS interpreted that federal law.
Yes, they did.
So we had a CPA tell a donor, it's not done yet. You might get some money back. So he went ahead and threw in 10,000, thinking it's a gamble, but
It was a gamble, and it was wrong, but that's okay. Let him try what he wants to try. There was a question for a while, not to make light of the subject, but it's been cleared up and there's no question anymore. I was going to tell you how this got started and what cost you the Iowa thing. It's when California
Yep.
and Illinois and New York, all the high tax paying states,
they
came
abused
in
it.
here and said that state income tax deduction is limited to 10. We're gonna create charitable foundations that
That's right.
95% of that charitable foundation is gonna go up and pay my taxes. We'll fool you, IRS. And IRS said, no, ain't gonna happen, and by the way, Iowa, you've been getting a benefit here that's been benefit way too long, we're gonna make you not be able to deduct the 65% that goes to Lafferty, we're only going to deduct 35. So you can thank your big states for the problem it caused us. If that cage wouldn't have got rattled, I think we're still right where we were. But the cage got rattled, they looked at them. Now, if something would have a 15% credit, they said, we're gonna allow that. You can use the old rules. They call that de minimis, or minimal effect. So if there'd be a 15% to Dow Iowa credit, then you could still take 100% on federal. Because on Dow Iowa now, you only get 2,500 Iowa, but you still only get to deduct 7,500 federal. They don't let you deduct the piece that goes to the Iowa credit. So what's the best donation on the block? I'll say in the United States, yeah, I can't believe there's another 65% credit sitting out there. It might be. Right here. Even today, even after the federal government did naughty things to us, still the best thing. So this is where I'm saying, and I told Sharif this, it's a re-education. No, we don't get 100 anymore, but how does 70 to 75 sound? When it's 45, if you give to any other charity, maximum of 45. Depends on your tax bracket. That's the highest tax bracket. It's a kind of, am I making progress? Are we above a 4 or 5 now? All right? Good. And I think the December 2nd thing was stuff that you didn't ask for today, but it's just because I learned it. And again, I hope I didn't offend you, because you kind of put people I put you against each other, didn't I?
We already knew it. We knew Sharika was holding out till December 2nd. We knew it.
So we do it. Our clients would wait.
So Gary, talking strategy, talking to CPAs, that's
Yeah.
obviously something you need to do a better job on. What time of the year, do you do it in groups, do you do it individually? What seems to be a good approach?
We're a tough nut to get together too. You know, attorneys are the worst. We invite all attorneys in Spencer today here and 3 of them show up. 30. Okay. CPAs, you might get, like I said, a third to a half of them to show up. That's okay. You gotta tell your story to these people. And how do you get them there? This is tough. This is tough stuff. How do you do your fundraising other than bring your priest? We wrestle with this church all the time. How do we get the people to wanna come to an estate planning seminar?
Food.
Don't you guys get CP, continuing education credits?
Yeah, you could do that if you have
Tack it on
somebody
to one of
qualified to
those.
speak. And I'm not volunteering, but,
Now we
no,
know.
you gotta have somebody qualified to speak and qualify the program ahead of time and stuff. You could, and that's an hour. We need 40 every year, so it's not gonna drive me here. It might, okay, it's an hour I don't have to pay for. So it's not a big deal. So that's not a sales pitch. It's just gotta be an interest, and I wish I had an answer for that. We wrestle with it all the time.
What do you think about promoting to CPAs during summer? Kind of a dead time, good time, bad time?
So
Sounds,
definitely not through the 15th. It's deader time.
Will they show up to a free golf outing and an exclusive golf course, then go through a 45 minutes, an hour presentation, and then golf for free at an exclusive course?
a lunch and learn.
Yeah.
You know, the lunch and learn is gonna be better than that. I don't think I'm gonna come.
Okay.
I can golf on my own course and I'm not
Sure,
I'm not picking on it. It's
No.
just, we've rattled our brain on this. And I think the luncheon, just this kind of a setting is probably your best way.
Well, you can do it in a half hour, couldn't you? I mean, seriously.
Yes,
It wouldn't even
yeah.
have to be a whole hour.
No, not even close. I'm filling time because I'm beating you to death with it, okay? Like I said, you're gonna be able to make the presentation. That's my goal here. Then I've solved my problem.
Do CPAs play well together, does one invite another, or is it better coming from their customers or from the school?
Probably would not come well coming from another CPA firm inviting CPAs. It'd have to come from your organization saying, we'd like to get together and discuss with you opportunities so that we know that, you know, we understand better. Maybe we can have somebody talk or have them at a roundtable, just have them chat about it. And then say we need to, this is for the benefit of our, maybe your customers and our church members. I wish I could have a good answer for you. It's tough. But I think the lunch and learn setting is what I would say would be the best method. Yes, ma'am.
Would you have any advice? We've got a lot of farmers in our area and, enticing them to maybe not necessarily give cash, but to give their grain.
What happens when a farmer gives his grain? How does he get his tax benefit?
No income, or-
Doesn't have to.
If I give $20,000 of grain to you and I'm the farmer, do I have to pay tax on that $20,000? No. Whereas if I'd sell it at the elevator and then give it to you, would that be smart? No. You're gonna have to pay tax on it and then maybe get a deduction for it. Okay? So I just want to give the grain to you, because then I don't have to put on my tax. I don't get a charitable donation. But just keep that in mind. I don't get a deduction. I just don't pick up the income. So yeah, that's great. You have forms, it's allowed, it's available. I've seen the forms. Can they give stock? Even better. If I bought a stock for 100 and it's worth 10,000 and I give you the 10,000 stock, do I pay tax on that gain? No. And I still get the full benefit of the value when I give it. So these are things that are good. Grains, if you have a farmer clientele, that'd probably be better one-on-one, tell the story. Get a bunch of farmers to get, I don't know. Doesn't resonate with me. But gifts of security, and what, has the stock market been up?
Yeah.
Do people probably have gain in there that they don't want to pay tax on? Here I am, I'm not greedy, I'm waiting for your donation. Don't have to pay tax on that gain anymore.
Do you wanna talk a little bit about why you can't
do donor advised fund.
Good, excellent. What's the donor advised fund? DAF.
The special fund that's been set aside at a foundation where the donor that uses that fund to give to different charitable entities, and he gets a tax break right away when he or she sets up the donor assistance
Okay,
fund.
where does the money sit? If I want to give $10,000 to a donor advised fund today, where is that probably going to end up?
Community foundation.
A foundation, that'll be fine. Any of the family of mutual funds would have one, American funds would have one. That's where most of mine are. Okay, they usually just use their broker and just set up one there. Okay, so I decide today to give $10,000 to the donor advised fund. What'd that do for me? I get a $10,000 donation on my tax return. Okay, so I gave it to a church or anybody else. But I put it over here. Now it's sitting with, whatever, you know, Darth Vader, Des Moines, whatever it's called, right, sitting in their funds. What do they do with it? They wait for what? They wait for me to advise them. I can't tell them. I can advise them what I want them to do with that money. Now, if they don't listen to my advice, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna take it out of here, I'm gonna go down to American funds. Somebody that will listen to me. So they do it. They do it. So, but the government's real careful. We can't tell them, we can advise them. So they'll do it. So what I did here is this was 5 years of donation to my church, but I don't wanna give them 10, they're gonna squander it away. So I'll have the donor advised fund give $2,000 a year to the church. Can't spend my money. But when did I get the donation? When I put it in the donor advised fund. When does this become most prevalent? Somebody sells their business. And they have a $2 million gain. And they say, hey, Gary said, why don't you put 200,000, 10% of that in the donor advised fund, you get to deduct it against this year's income. But then you don't want to give $200,000 to the church. Who knows what they'll do with it? We'll give it $20,000 a year for the next 10 years. That's the beauty of the donor advised fund. You kind of control after the fact that you get the donation today. Understand? Okay. Now, where are we going with donor advised fund? Somebody asked. Oh, all right. Now, can we take money out of here, one of these $2,000 checks, and give it to Lafferty?
No, you can't, you already got it done.
Perfect. That's why you cannot. You got the benefit right here. Okay, so I can't get a double benefit for doing it again. I already got the benefit of this donation. I can't take it down here and get another 65%. All right, now, have you heard of the QCDs, Qualified Charitable Distributions, out of IRAs? I see a few heads nodding yes. That's another key concept. If I wouldn't have come and talked to you about Lafferty today, I'd come talk to you about QCDs. I've done it in my church twice. And who shows up? All the old people, right?
Yeah.
Why do all the old people show up? Because you gotta be
70 and a half.
70 and a half to do this. Okay, so if you're 70 and a half, and a lot of this comes, RMD, I'm throwing a lot of acronyms there. What's RMD stand for?
Required minimum distribution.
Very good. Required minimum distribution out of your IRA. That's the amount what? That you have to pull out every year once you hit what age?
70 and a half.
Ah, new tax law.
72.
Good. Caught you almost. It used to be 70 and a half forever. Now it's 72. Start pulling it out when you're age 72. Okay? And where the press always comes is, well, if you don't want it, just give it directly to Sacred Heart. Don't let it touch Gary's hot hands. You just send it straight to Sacred Heart. Okay? And the selling pitch is, take that RMD amount and just give it to Sacred Heart. Because what happens then? Do I pay tax on this? No. Is there a charitable donation? No. That's the difference. I just told you, most people don't itemize anymore. So if I tried to do it by giving it to the church, I wouldn't get the donation. Here, it reduces my income before I even get to the itemized level. This is the biggest thing I would talk about outside of Lafferty today. Just do it. Some people say, well, maybe I won't get a benefit anyway. You get a benefit every time you do this. maybe I'll get the donation anyway. Not maybe, every time you do this, you don't pay tax on it. And does it have to be the RMD amount? No, it could be 10% of it, it could be 3,000, it could be up to
$100,000.
100,000.